10 minutes after the hour of 6 o'clock, it is a Monday morning, the 8th day of September, 2025. And here we are in studio at 2207 7th Street, getting our, our foundation here. Going back to the book of Revelation, chapter 18, and making sure that we're covering this book. We have, what do we say, 21 chapters? 22 chapters, excuse me. You'd think I would know that by now, but a lot of things I probably should know by now that I don't. Chapter 18, we started on Friday's program. If you were with us and you heard it, if not, it is on our YouTube channel that we are currently live on, Alvey Cornerstone Church, which seems like those who are chiming in, that's kind of their preferred place to find us, is at YouTube, Alvey Cornerstone Church, or on Facebook at Alvey Cornerstone. Or if you're within, I would say probably at least 15 miles or so, or even longer than that, depending on your antenna, you can get us on the 100-watt 90.3 FM right here in Las Vegas. Good morning, Marie, and good morning, Chana, both of them on Facebook this morning. We started off on Friday's program in the beginning of this chapter and looking at Babylon. And we tried covering a little bit of a background. You know, you can never cover a full there's books, I'm sure there's a lot of extensive books that have been written about Babylon from the biblical view, not just from a historical view, not just from an archaeological view, but there's probably many, many books that have been written about Babylon from a biblical worldview. And you talk about worldview. If you have an opportunity, let's see, Jennifer's with us to add to, looks like we are also on YouTube. Very good, thank you. If you have the opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, to watch a 90-minute documentary that Focus on the Family and Breakpoint has been pushing for weeks, because the 5th of September, this Friday, I believe it was the premiere of Truth Rising. 90-minute documentary. Eileen and I watched it last night. I watched it on YouTube. Didn't have any commercials at all. My God, I don't know how they pulled that one off. But, YouTube, it seems like every 5 minutes they're... Yes. So I won't say any more than that, but we use YouTube a lot, and I know how the whole thing. But here's what I'm saying is, if you have not watched Truth Rising yet, you gotta watch it. You just have to watch Truth Rising, ladies and gentlemen. So I'll throw that out there for you. Good morning, George. Good morning, Yolanda. Let's get into our study this morning. Want to let everybody know that we have a website. And many of our sermons in the past have been already posted up to alveycornerstone.com, not just the YouTube and the Facebook page, but we also have a prayer and input line that is at Gmail, KLYN903 at gmail.com. Good morning, Flo. How was your weekend? Let's get into it right now. So, Friday, we started the chapter really covers Babylon again. Okay, this is the last time in the Bible that we will even cover the subject about Babylon. But if we would just do a search on the name Babylon alone, you're going to find out that it is all over the Bible. In fact, if I go to the bottom, way down to the bottom of the page, 261 verses in the Old and New Testament that you're going to find the reference to Babylon. Sometimes it's a locale, but really what we're looking at more than just a city that's over there in Iraq Well, it's not even a city anymore, and I think we covered that fairly well on Friday's program and tried to give you a little bit of background and then just a current update on this whole Babylon thing. Saddam Hussein tried rebuilding it, died before he really got too far going, but Babylon is all over the Bible, and Babylon is not just a city in Iraq or a ruins in Iraq. Now, really, is what it is. Babylon is a spiritual entity, and here we have found out in the previous chapter that it was typified by the harlot. Okay, and here's where we left off pretty much on Friday's program in verse 4. And this is critical, ladies and gentlemen. It's critical to us as God's people. Kathleen, good morning. Verse 4, chapter 18, book of Revelation. All these verses have led up to really this command, I would call it, to the believers. I heard another voice from heaven saying, "Come out of her, my people, lest you share in her sins, lest you receive her plagues." So if you don't know who she is, and if you don't know what her influence is over lives, you don't know what to get out of. It's kind of like I've been saying the last week or so, because I had a conversation with somebody and I even talked about this during yesterday's sermon, that people, somebody was telling me, well, we need to enter into the fight. We need to get in there. We need to enter into that fight. Not a physical fisticuffs or anything like that. You kind of know what I'm talking about. And I asked the guy, well, who's the enemy? And they couldn't identify the enemy. Okay, we got a problem, and you're calling it a fight. And you want to fix the problem, but we got to know who the enemy is. The same way it is with Babylon. If we don't know what Babylon is, what it represents, how it influences our life, how do we know whether we're there or not? And the Bible, the 264 references or something like that, is what we saw just now. Good morning, Dana. If we don't know Babylon is, we don't know whether we're there or not. We don't know what the influence has. And the voice from heaven, this isn't a voice, this is a voice that comes out of the temple of God to God's people and says, "Come out of her, my people." So, well, yeah, that's going to happen one of these days, man. One of these days. That's the second half of the tribulation, the 3.5 years and the 42 months and the 1,230 days or whatever it is. That's to those people over there. Well, I want to tell you what Babylon has been around for a long, long time. And Babylon has been skipping around all over the place. And Babylon is, and we'll see it here and see how it affects us. But I'd like to get to the end of the chapter, if I would just put it in gear. I heard another voice from heaven saying, "Come out of her, my people, lest you share in her sins, lest you receive of her plagues." It doesn't say that you won't be his people anymore. It says that you're going to share in her sins and you're going to receive her plagues if you don't know how to get out of, and if you don't know who she, because that's the way the Bible is typifying as the harlot. If you don't know who she is, you don't know. For her sins have reached to heaven, and God has remembered her iniquities. Very pointed there, okay? It's we've talked about Babylon at least a couple of other times about her coming down. She's coming down. She's coming down. God says, it's time. And I believe we started this chapter off, and we're not going to go there if we don't have to right now. But if not, we saw it at the end of the 17th chapter. Babylon is fallen, about the third time in the book that it tells us that. For her sins have reached to heaven, and God has remembered her iniquities. We're talking about a time called the wrath of the Lamb. But it's it's coming to a head. It's coming up to. This is not just something that just is going to happen in 3.5 first year, the first half of the 7, and then the second half of the 7 is going to be the wrath. No, this is something that's been building for generations, for hundreds and hundreds of generations. This has been building up, and God says, "Okay, time. Now's the time. It's the fourth quarter. Now's the time. It's the 9th inning. We got to take care of business. For her sins have reached to heaven, and God has remembered her iniquities." Good morning, Mr. Doty. Morning, Mr. Gentry. "Render to her just as she rendered to you." Who's he talking to? Well, who's talking? Well, it doesn't tell us except a voice from heaven, okay? If you want to be specific, there's a voice. Is it an angel? Is it a voice from heaven, okay? Is it a seraphim? Well, we can get into, we can write books that, just going to keep us around that little circle over and over again, chasing our tail. A voice came and said, Get out of there. Come out of her, my people. Her sins have reached to heaven. Render to her. Who's he talking to? Who's he talking to? Render to her. If not the people that he started in verse 4, alluding to my people. Come out of her, my people. Render to her just as she rendered to you. And repay her double according to her works in the cup which she has mixed double for her. So if I'm reading this right, okay, he's telling God's people that it's time for you to give her back what she gave to you. And if you don't know who she is, and if you don't know what she's given to you, and you know all the deception and the lies and the murder and all, we'll get into it because it's going to be there for us. There's going to be a lot of information. But remember, this is the last chapter in the Bible that you're here going to, and you say, well, where's it? Go to the 10th chapter of the book of Genesis. Go to the whole story of the Tower of Babel and Nimrod, and that's where it started off. Way, pushing back, way. Render to her just as she rendered to you. And repay her double according to her works in the cup which she has mixed double for her. So she's mixed a cup, okay? And in the cup, it was sorcery. In the cup, it was immorality, idolatry, iniquity, the 3 eyes that we talk about occasionally here on the earth. Okay, more than occasionally, but we talk about it a lot. The 3 eyes, immorality, iniquity, idolatry is what she had in the cup, and she poured it out and forced the world to drink of her cup. And he says, give her a double shot. Render to her just as she rendered to you. The ISV says, do to her as she herself has done. Give her double for her deeds. Mix a double drink for her in the cup which she mixed. So it's time. It's time for sowing and reaping. So what do you mean by that? Well, she has sown. And it's now time for her to reap. She has sown idolatry, iniquity, immorality, and now it's time to mix her a double. Render to her, give her back everything that she gave unto you. And repay her double according to her works. Oh, I had a thought coming through my head and a saying that I definitely won't say on the radio. Render to her just as she rendered to you, and repay her double according to her works. In the cup which she has mixed double for her. In the measure that she glorified herself and lived luxuriously. Okay, so now you start seeing this is the harlot that is sitting upon the beast. The beast has 7 heads. It has 10 horns. Each one of the horns has a crown. Talk about representative of kings. And the woman is Babylon, and she's riding the beast. And she's been riding it for a long time. And she's been deceiving. This is the ultimate deception, ladies and gentlemen. So do not be deceived in knowing what Babylon is all about. And Friday we tried covering part of it, enough to hopefully that you would start digging deeper into it and finding out what is Babylon all about. And more important than anything, how is it affecting my life? And as I said last week, the same way that the apostles used the Roman roads that were built to take the armies, conquering armies from one part of the Middle East to another around the Mediterranean Sea, we use the internet, which really is finds its roots in Babylon, I'm sure, technology and all that stuff. Maybe we'll get into that a little bit later. Let's see who she is. Render to her just as she rendered to you. Repay her double according to her works. In the cup which she has mixed double for her. In the measure that she glorified herself. Okay? You see the pride here? You want to look at the works of the flesh? They're personified in the harlot. And lived luxuriously in the same measure. That she glorified herself and lived luxuriously in the same measure, give her torment and sorrow. For she says in her heart, I sit as a queen and am no widow and will not see sorrow. Sorry, you can say that all day long there, rider of the beast. You can proclaim that you will not, but you will, because the wrath of the Lamb has come, and it is time. For all the nations, we could go back to verse 3, all the nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of fornication. So now, that's why we say, give her double. Oh, and we didn't say it. It was God who said it in the Bible himself.
I need thee. Oh, I need thee. Every hour I need thee. Oh, bless me now, my Savior. I come to thee.
Sing it with me.
I need thee, oh, I need thee. Every hour I need thee.
30 minutes after the hour of 6 o'clock, time for us to get into that very, very, very important. I mean, we can't live without a weather report anymore. Sunny today, high near 83 degrees, northwest wind 5 to 10 miles per hour. 83 in contrast to, I believe it was Saturday. Did Saturday we even barely get into the 60s on Saturday or not? Tuesday, sunny, high near 83 degrees, west wind 5 to 10 miles per hour. And on Wednesday, sunny, high near 82 degrees with a 20% chance of precip. That is your updated weather report. Let's get back into our study for today. And the way I do it is like that. Therefore, her plagues will come in one day. Okay? She says, watch what she says. I sit as a queen. I am no widow. It will not see sorrow. If you've ever really done much or heard much about Jezebel in the Old and Jezebel in the New Testament, you kind of have to say, well, this harlot looks like if she's of the spirit of Jezebel. I sit as a queen. Oh yeah, you this, and you can say anything that you want about yourself, there, Miss Harlot. You can tell us all day long who you think you are, but in the eyes of God, He is beginning to expose as He brings things around. He brings the close to an age, to an era in the history of humanity. For she says in her heart, I sit as a queen, and am no widow and will not see sorrow. You ever been, people are doing this all the time today. Like, I guess in my life, like never before, people are trying to tell us who they are when we know to the contrary. Now you know where it comes from. Have you heard the latest about that senator? And I believe we're going to find it on Breakpoint today. Same people that put out the Truth documentary. If you haven't seen Truth Rising, you need to check out Truth Rising from Focus on the Family and from Breakpoint. I found it on YouTube yesterday, and that's what Eileen and I watched last night. Truth Rising Project. Check it out. Good morning, Mary Jane. Therefore her plagues will come in one day. Death and mourning and famine. Well, I thought you sat as a queen. I thought you were the big boss. I thought you weren't a widow. I thought you won't see. Oh, in 1 hour, you're going to see sorrow, girl. Therefore, her plagues will come in one day, death and mourning and famine. And try to look at Babylon as a system, more than just a person or more than just a GPS location on planet Earth. Look at it as a system. Look at it as everything that stands against. This is the religious center of the kingdom of darkness. This is one of the primary ways that Satan is manifesting himself to you, to your family, to your friends, to your neighbors. This is the way that Satan is manifesting himself to Babylon. Egypt is another way. And when we get there, we'll talk about it, because we'll be flipping over to Genesis one of these days, and sooner or later we're going to get into Exodus, and we're going to be looking at Egypt and a lot of stuff there, typical of the world. And Babylon, typical of the religious nature of the kingdom of darkness. But it's even much more than religion. Therefore, her plagues will come in one day, death and mourning and famine. In one day. And she will be utterly burned with fire, for strong is the Lord who judges her. So she can say all she wants to. But God says, it's time. I'm going to bring judgment on Babylon. I will expose her. But we need revelation now so that we can come out from amongst them. The kings of the earth, verse 9. For me, this is where it gets really interesting. The kings of the earth who committed fornication and live luxuriously with her will weep and lament for her when they see the smoke of her burning. All right, now, okay. I am looking at the harlot, Babylon, as a spiritual entity. I'm looking at more from a second heaven perspective than just but the earthly powers, the kings of the earth, have committed fornication. Okay? Do I have to define fornication? I don't think so. Okay? But we can if you want to. I don't know if YouTube or Facebook would like it very much. The kings of the earth who committed fornication have lived luxuriously with her. They will weep and lament for her when they see the smoke of her burning. Notice that the power brokers of the earth, the kings, these are the political entities of the earth who through the generations committed fornication, and they were paid very handsomely for going along with the harlot. They lived luxuriously, and we have been sold this bill of goods, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, I'm telling you that money is everything. The guy who finishes the game with the most marbles wins. Whoever's got the bigger bank account. I mean, right now they're saying over the weekend that Elon Musk might get a raise and he would be the first, trillionaire? Or is he already past the trillionaire? Billionaire to trillionaire. Anyway, the richest man in the whole world. Nobody's ever seen that. How much of that stuff can... Anyway, but we value it and we run after it. The kings of the earth who committed fornication and lived luxuriously with her will weep and lament for her when they see the smoke of her burning. Standing at a distance for fear of her torment. So that's what the kings of the earth, they're not going to burn with her. They're going to see her burning. They're going to see the downfall of this spiritual entity. I believe wholeheartedly we're talking about a spiritual entity right now that is affecting the earth and has been affecting the earth for generations and generations. It's all around you. It has, when the day you were born, it was already there. And the day that we're going to pass away, it'll still be there, and it's standing at a distance, the kings of the earth, for fear of her torment, saying, "Alas, alas, that great city Babylon." Remember, they have committed fornication. They've been living luxuriously with her, and they're standing afar for fear and seeing her torment. Alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour your judgment has come. It's time, girl. It's time to take care of business. Oh, but yeah, no buts on this one here. We're going to take care of business. Alas, for that great city, Babylon, that mighty city, for 1 hour your judgment has come. And maybe Friday's program, if you're just cutting in on today's, will explain a lot more about Babylon and the inception and some of the things that we find out. Very, just little bullet points along the way to hopefully lead you into some deeper study about Babylon so you can know who your real enemy is. You say, well, where's Satan? Well, Satan manifests himself in different ways. We got beasts, we got dragons, we got harlots, we got all kinds of stuff going on over here. Powers of darkness, principalities, powers, rulers, authorities that we stand against in the name that is above all names. Remember that he talked to each one of the churches in the second and third chapter, and it says, to the overcomers. In the midst of the church, he spoke to them. Some of them he was kind of proud of, others he wasn't so proud of, and others had a lot of work to do. But in each and every one of them, there were overcomers. Alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for 1 hour your judgment has come, and the merchants of the earth will weep, yeah, there I am, and mourn over her, for no one buys their merchandise anymore. All right, we saw the kings. Remember, we saw the kings. Now we isolate the merchants. Oh, I can't wait to get to the end of the chapter. I might have to jump all the way down there real earth. The merchants of the earth will reap. So that not only is it a political, but is also a financial. Remember that the fornication, okay, and the luxurious lifestyle that they have been living, the lie that they fell for. And ladies and gentlemen, don't fall for the lie. Now, the merchants of the earth will weep and mourn over her. You're talking about big shots. For no one buys their merchandise anymore. And there's a long list of merchandise. Gold and silver, precious stones and pearls, fine linen and purple, silk and scarlet. You say, well, what's the big deal with linen and purple? I mean, everybody, no. In those days, not everybody had 15 or 20 changes of clothes in the closet. Some people were lucky if they had one change of clothes throughout all of their lifetime. Precious stones and pearls, fine linen and purple, silk and scarlet, every kind of citron wood. I looked at the word citron and a little bit of my study. There's a little bit. Is it apple wood? Is it scented wood? Is it scented apple wood? It's something valuable. All these things are valuable items. Every kind of object of ivory, every kind of object of most precious wood, bronze, iron, and marble, and cinnamon, and incense, fragrant oil, flour and wine. George, I was looking at George's. You're looking at a political, religious, and economic deception is what you're looking at. Notice all these things. Here's what I'm thinking of. Solomon had all of these things. I think if we would look at the story of Solomon, we would go there, we'd find out, boy, he had all of this stuff going for him. And what happened to Solomon? And he didn't lose his salvation. Okay, please don't get me wrong. But he sure, it seems to me, and if you study his writings, okay, from Proverbs to Ecclesiastes to the Song of Solomon, there's some different eras of his lifestyle. Anyway, Solomon was one guy that seemed, and he was a king of the earth. Anyway, the merchants of the earth will weep and mourn over her, for when no one buys their merchandise anymore. They're not buying the merchandise of gold, silver, precious stones, and pearls, fine linen and purple, silk and scarlet, every kind of citron wood, every kind of object of ivory, every kind of object of most precious wood, bronze, iron, and marble, and cinnamon, and incense, fragrant oil and frankincense, wine and oil, fine flour and wheat, cattle and sheep, horses and chariots. And then at the end it says, and bodies and souls of men. Notice how probably if one of us were writing it, we would put the bodies of souls and men way at the top of the list. But notice how through the power of the Holy Spirit, John puts the bodies and soul at the end of the list, kind of for effect. And you look at the gold and the silver and the materials and all kinds of fancy, desired items that people want in their life. And then at the end he says, "Oh, and don't forget, add to the list the bodies and souls of men." I think I could have read this 20 years ago and I say, what the heck is that talking about? I guess that's talking about 3.5 years at the end, and I don't know if I'll be here or not, and it doesn't matter, and, get ready, be ready, stay ready. But what do we see going on in our time? How many posts are you seeing today looking for a kid? The people are looking for. I saw a post, and I should verify some of these things that I see, but I read a post that our government has uncovered all of a lot of child trafficking is going on in the world, especially in the United States of America, and our government is beginning to uncover them. And people are even fighting against the government that is trying to save these kids. There's a ministry in Northern California, not in the big city. There's a ministry in Northern California that has acquired property and buildings so that some of these kids can come and get healed, because they're going to need Jesus. Wow. You see? Wow. And the bodies, and they're selling bodies and souls. You're talking about not just their body, but also their souls, their mind, their will, and their emotion. If you don't understand the body, you don't understand the soul, you need to watch our Sunday sermon. And they treat them like commodities. They treat them they trade with them the same way they would with silver and gold. It's a commodity. You are a commodity in their sight. The merchants of the earth. Do you know how much information they have on us? I always thought, this is me talking, okay? So let me rant. I've always thought, ever since the internet age came on, and all they're getting your information, Well, how much information can they get about me? How much could they know about me? So they're getting my information. Big deal. What are they going to do with it? Well, then AI comes in, and I start thinking, no, it kind of makes sense with all this AI stuff going on. Of why they wanted to know. They could almost make a fake me with all the information that they have about me through this new technology called AI. Okay, I'm just a fearmonger. That's just who I am. But they got information on each and every one of us, and they're selling it, and they're always telling us, oh yeah, these guys are, getting it, and they're giving it, and they're selling it, and Well, how many times do they know that I like steak and potatoes, man? How many times can they? Well, I don't know. Maybe they know exactly what steak, what potato. Other than looks like they probably know exactly how I like it cooked and when I like it and when I don't. The bodies and souls, your mind, your will, and emotion, they are selling our thoughts, ladies and gentlemen. They're selling our personalities online. I told you, I thought this was going to get more than just gold and silver. The fruit, verse 14, that your soul longed for has gone from you. All the things which are rich and splendid have gone from you, and you shall find them no more at all. Talking to Babylon, talking to the harlot, talking, and like George says, the political, religious, and economic are just maybe three of the sources of power that the Babylon system has over us. Selling us. That's crazy. Selling us. Well, they ain't selling my body. Well, baby, they got your mind, your will, and your emotions all sewed up. The fruit that your soul longed for has gone from you. O Babylon, your soul longed for this fruit, and all the things which are rich and splendid have gone from you. You shall find them no more at all. The merchants of these things who became rich by her will stand at a distance for fear of her torment, weeping and wailing. Same way that the kings, remember that the kings were standing from afar and watching the smoke go up. The merchants, will see the destruction of Babylon at a distance for fear of her torment, weeping and wailing. Well, how's that? I don't know how it's going to happen. I don't know what's going to be how this whole thing is going to work. That's a beautiful thing. It's like Joe put on last week's the rear view mirror prophecy. We read these things, these futuristic events, and we read them, try to figure them out, and then they happen, and we see them happen in the rear view, and we say, oh, look at that. That's how it was going to happen. I missed that part, and I missed that part there. I saw some of these other things. Now it all fits together. The merchants of these things who become richer will stand at a fear, saying, alas, alas, for that great city that was clothed in fine linen, purple, scarlet, and adorned with gold and precious stones of pearl. Now they're calling it a city. Not just a harlot. Not just, other things. It's a city. It's an entity is what it is. And I believe it's a city that comes from the second heaven and has been affecting earth, at least since the 10th chapter of the book of Genesis. Satan's plot, Satan's kingdom, not just an earthly thing, but it's there to deceive all men. Alas, that great city that was clothed in fine purple and scarlet and adorned with gold and precious stones of pearl. For in 1 hour such great riches came to nothing. Same with the political power. Is the same with the economic power. Every shipmaster and all who travel by ship, sailors and as many as trade on the sea, stood at a distance and cried out when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, what is like this great city? What? You see them ships? You see them big ships coming in with all those containers stacked. Oh my God! I look at those things. I say, how many of those fall into the sea? And they got them stacked high, and they're going from east to west, north to south. We better play a song. We better play one to get us up to the top of the hour. But beautiful thing about this song, it has a long tail. The shipmaster and the sailors, all who travel by ship, as many as trade on the sea, stood at a distance and cried out when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, "What is this? What is like this great city?" That's how they made their living. That's how all of this, everybody was part of the system. The kings, the merchants, the shipmasters, all part of this system. And the system is going down, and they're standing back and they're saying, how are we going to make a living anymore? They threw dust on their heads and cried out, weeping and wailing and saying, "Alas, alas, that great city, in which all who had ships on the sea became rich by her wealth, for in 1 hour she is made desolate." Let's have Selah taking us up to the top of the hour with, oh, the deep, deep love of Jesus.
Oh, the deep, deep love of Jesus, vast unmeasured, boundless free, rolling as a mighty ocean,
Good morning, Las Vegas. You're listening to KLYN 90.3 FM. It is a Monday morning, the 8th day of September. That's Selah singing, Oh, the deep, deep love of Jesus. We are in the 18th chapter of the book of Revelation this morning. A reminder about our prayer and input line, klyn903@gmail.com. Also, our website is... Let's take this off. You don't want to. You don't want to go now. Okay, I don't know why. You don't want to go. Trying to take off the prayer and input line, and it doesn't want to go. So, let's see if we can do this. Some other. 52 degrees is the current temperature. Humidity is at 80%. Wind out of the north and northwest currently at 6 miles per hour. Barometric pressure 30.34 inches. And if my memory serves me correct, which it doesn't always. Saturday, I don't think we got even into the 60s very much on Saturday at all. Current temperature 52 degrees. Full weather report coming up for you at the bottom of the hour. Let's get into our study for today. See if I can do it. And now it went off. Okay, thank you. The merchants of the world. No, these are the sailors. We've seen the kings. We've seen the merchants. And now we're looking at the sailors, moving all this stuff around, coast to coast, from one continent to another, shipyard to shipyard. They threw dust. Oh, and we have a worldwide economy now. Who was it that was talking to me about that this last weekend? They was saying, what our economy, it's been that way for a long time, Jones. Been that way for a long time. I remember when avocados was just, a few months out of the year that you got decent avocados, and then Peru jumped in and said, well, we can do that too. We can cover that hole and before you know it, we got them all year round. And how do you think they're getting here? And I'm not saying don't eat avocados, okay? That's not what I'm saying at all. Oh, it's a Babylon. Avocados is a Babylon. Yeah, right. They threw their dust on their heads and cried out weeping and wailing and saying, Alas, alas, that great city in which all who had ships on the sea became rich by her wealth. See the deception there of financial gain, for in 1 hour she is made desolate. And my wife is probably listening to this and saying, yeah, you tightwad, you're holding on to your money. That's Babylon. Verse 20, rejoice over her, O heaven. And you, holy apostles and prophets, for God has avenged you on her. Remember, God told them, give her double, mix a double trouble in her cup. Rejoice over her, O heaven. Talking about the third heaven. Babylon's in the second heaven, affecting the first heaven. Rejoice over her, O heaven, and you, holy apostles and prophets, for God has avenged you on her. Wow. The prophets and the apostles. He says, rejoice. O heaven. And you, holy apostles and prophets, where God has avenged you on her. Then a mighty angel, remember Babylon is going down. She says, I'm a queen, man. I ain't no prostitute, man. I'm I'm going to be here forever. A mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone and threw it into the sea, saying, thus with violence the great city Babylon shall be thrown down and shall not be found anymore. Say, well, that's pretty cruel, is it? Well, you want to talk cruel? You want to talk about how the souls and the bodies of men have been sold and bargained for just like wood and fabric. Come out from amongst her. Come out from amongst her. The mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone, threw it into the sea, saying, thus with violence the great city Babylon shall be thrown down and shall not be found anymore. This is getting very close, if not the last time that we will see the word Babylon mentioned in the Bible, way toward the end. The sound of harpists, musicians, flutists, trumpeters shall not be heard in you anymore. Oh my God, she even had, on the arts and entertainment, she had her talents in there. Beyond the political, religious, and economic. The harpists, the musicians, the flutists, the trumpeters shall not be heard in you anymore. There was a deceptive sound that was coming out of Babylon. Oh, now you really lost it. Well, you wait till all this thing happens. You wait till the smoke clears and we find exactly what was how we were being affected by all these things. No craftsman of any craft shall be found in you anymore. The sound of a millstone shall not be heard in you anymore. Millstone is, where they were grinding the wheat into flour and grind it up. It's kind of like that coffee machines that I got to where I throw the beans in there and grind it. That's small example of a millstone. No craftsman of any craft shall be found in you anymore. The control that Babylon has. I didn't say had, I said has. The light of a lamp shall not shine in you anymore. The voice of the bridegroom and bride shall be not heard in you anymore. For your merchants were the great men of the earth. For by your sorcery all the nations were deceived. Oh, my God. By your sorcery. What is sorcery, ladies and gentlemen? What is sorcery? Watch this. We're closing up here, okay, in about 2 minutes. The light of a lamp shall not shine in you anymore. The voice of the bridegroom and the bride shall not be heard in you anymore. That is the voice of happiness and frivolity and everything, party time. For your merchants were the great men of the earth. Have you ever heard about any of the great men of the earth? By your sorcery, all the nations were deceived. Okay? I'm surprised that somebody's not jumping in on the comment section and helping me out with sorcery. Okay? What is the word sorcery? Webster says magic, enchantment, witchcraft, divination, be the assistance of evil spirits or the power of commanding evil spirits. You want another word? You want to know what the Greek word for sorcery is? I'll find it for you. We might go a couple of minutes later, but I want to find this for you. I want sorceries. You see sorceries there in the New King James Plus in the eSword Bible with a G5331 right next to it. It is the word pharmakia, where we get the word pharmacy from. They're fighting against big pharma, big sorcery right now. Oh my God, you are one of those, are you? Yes, yeah. I guess I am. For by your merchants were the great men of the earth, by your pharmacia, all the nations were deceived. And in her was found the blood of the prophets and saints and of all who were slain on the earth. My dad used to quote a scripture in my early Christian life. I'm not sure what translation he got it from because I've had a hard time finding it, but it's pretty much the same as the end of this 23rd verse. My dad used to say all the time, he had a way of quoting scripture and saying it over and over and over again. And at first you say, okay, and then you say, well, that's enough. And then you begin to meditate on what he said, and you say, ooh, really, Dad? I got to find that. I got to look at it in the Bible. My dad used to say, the merchants of the world by their tricks and sorceries has deceived all men. And now I can't even think of the exact way that he said it, but it was pretty. And there it is. Your merchants were the great men of the earth, for by your sorcery all the nations were deceived. Okay, so is there first heaven pharmakia, and is there second heaven pharmakia, affecting not only our bodies but also affecting our souls? For by your merchants, the great men of the earth, by your sorcery, all the nations were deceived. And in her, still talking about Babylon, still talking about the queen, that's not really a queen, talking about the harlot that's riding a beast, in her was found the blood of the prophets and saints and of all who were slain on the earth. You have a feeling that she doesn't like you very much. Anyway, it's Dixia playing in the background, Sintino Vivo, 11 and a half minutes after the hour. I'm going to thank you for watching this morning. We'll be back tomorrow with the 19th chapter of the book of Revelation. Have a great day, everybody. Good one, Tommy. Tommy put there at the end, drug use. Huh? Just about, yeah, some of you have left our drug use. Huh? It's more than just the pharmacies and what they're giving out. How about all these drugs? Oh, I even forgot that, Tommy. Maybe we're going to have to talk a little bit about that tomorrow.